Hello there, lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today I think it's about time that we have a proper good old chinwag about that there Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because yes, for the very first time of the weekend, I actually managed to play the game myself! Now, you might be thinking, Alex, come on, it's been ages, why haven't you played it? Well, simply the main reason is because I live in the UK, there is no super duper just go to Best Buy and play the game by queuing up for 40 minutes or however long it is, I don't know. I've never been there, I don't live in America. But all I know is that you Americans can just waltz up into one of your supermarkets, as you call them, and play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and frankly, it's infuriating. All we can do here in Europe is just go and play it at exhibitions and expos and things like that, and that is where I played it. I played it at EGX.
Who is your go-to character? Who do you like playing as in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Ridley.
It is the blue team!
I did have the opportunity to go and play it earlier, but I wasn't available, so I didn't. But now I have finally played it, and I've played it a fair amount, I would say, overall, considering you can't just play it and buy it and stuff like that, especially in the UK. I think overall I've probably played about maybe 20, 25 matches overall. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. I wasn't sat there counting them in a tally, although maybe I should have done. Maybe that would have made for an entertaining video. I tried out a variety of characters, I tried out a variety of stages, and if anyone's wondering, the version that I played, the build, is exactly the same as the E3 one as far as I know. The same characters, the same stages, the same everything. I played a lot of Ridley is what I'm trying to say. But I did try out other characters as well, because there are other characters other than Ridley that I am far more familiar with, because Ridley's new. And so after actually playing the actual Super Smash Bros. Actual Ultimate game on the actual Nintendo Switch, what do I think about it? Of course, it's bloody good. If you were in any doubt going into this video whether I would think it was a good thing or a bad thing based on my early impressions, you clearly haven't watched my videos. You've at least not been paying attention. It is amazing. Again, I've only played a very small amount overall compared to how I would play an actual Smash game, which is ad infinitum, but they just seem to have ticked every single box. And when I first jumped into it, I thought to myself, okay, you know, let's have a go, let's play around, and I thought to myself, oh, this feels like an awful lot like Smash 4, you know, Smash for Wii U and 3DS and stuff like that. I was sort of thinking, yeah, it feels like that sort of framework, that sort of basic idea. And then I played through the match and I sort of felt that stuff wasn't behaving as I expected it to. Because even though at first glance, when you look at the game, and even when you play the game, maybe for the first 10 minutes or something like that, you'll be playing the game and you'll be thinking, well, this feels a lot like Smash 4. Is it just Smash 4 underneath? And I think it's fairly safe to say, oh, no, it's not. When you get into the nitty-gritty and you actually start analyzing what's going on, there are so many teeny tiny little just tweaks and adjustments here and there. Little things that they've changed that have a big impact, and when added together they overall make a very different feeling game. Now if you've just played a bit of Smash 4 and then you jump in, and I'm talking like, you know, you've played a couple of hours and then you jump into Smash Ultimate, you'll probably say no, they feel exactly the same, because you haven't sort of integrated yourself into it. But there are changes and they make a big difference, particularly when you combine them all together. I think the biggest change that they've added is definitely landing lag. Landing lag has basically almost universally been reduced, which is great. If you're expecting it, if you're expecting, you know, to land and have a, you know, a split second, a few frames, well, actually quite a few frames where you can't move, you don't move and you look like an idiot on stream. It totally changes up the way that you play, because all of a sudden various moves that you do and stuff like that can still very efficiently combo and give you fewer vulnerable frames that the opponent can exploit. So it's even more frantic than before. And I think maybe, I'm not particularly hot on Melee, but I think maybe it's sort of trying to edge towards Melee a little bit, and, you know, sort of, but, you know, without the whole sort of cancelling and stuff like that. Because I'm not entirely sure if you can still cancel, because again, I really have not played a huge amount. but it does feel like it's trying to edge more towards that sort of frantic gameplay, but at the same time making it accessible and making it an intentional part of the game, rather than something that could be exploited, if you like. All of a sudden you've got characters like Ganondorf and Bowser, and probably many other heavy characters that aren't in the demo build that I played, all of a sudden feeling so much more nimble, but at the same time, you've got characters like Sonic that have almost no landing lag now. I think I only played one match with Sonic, but he felt zippy as hell. Naturally, there are other elements that they've changed that will factor into this and will sort of act as a sort of a counter to that. Things like rolling and rolling becomes stale and stuff like that. I don't know. Again, it's something, when you're actually playing Smash and you're just playing it, you know, for a few sessions, you can't pick up on a lot of the finer details. So if it does sound like I'm being a little bit ignorant, I do apologize, but I haven't been going through and analyzing stuff frame by frame because I had to make cider. That's very mechanical, that side of things, but I think overall there are other just small changes here and there that really shows that the development team have not only listened to the audience and listened to the really hardcore fans and even the more casual fans, but then they've actually acted upon it and really taken decisions that I don't think they would have done otherwise. I think one of the most obvious ones is the fact that overall now, I think the default, I think you can change it back to the old-fashioned way if you like, but the default now is that you choose the stage before you choose your character, which is an excellent way to do it because, you know, you can fight over the stage and, you know, sort of have a bit of a squabble with your friends. No, I want to play Final Destination, and somebody says, no, I want to play Town and City, Amiga form. But then once you've decided your stage, it's decided, and then there is no necessary detriment to your character's advantages on those stages because the stage has been decided and then you choose your character. So if you've picked a stage between you that has loads of platforms, maybe you'll, you know, change your character up. If it's Final Destination, maybe you'll go for somebody with lots of zoning capabilities. There's all sorts of different things that you can take into account, and, you know, items and all that sort of gubbins as well. And all it is just swapping around when you select your character and when you select your stage. And yet it makes an enormous difference, and arguably it makes it a lot fairer. Of course, if you still go with a random stage, you don't know what stage it's going to be, and it's still going to be random, but wouldn't want to change that for the world, because random stage is hilarious. Also, I really, really love what they've done with the final smashes, because beforehand they could be a bit sort of flashy, a bit sort of take a long time, and they weren't really sort of, I suppose, very hardcore. They felt a little bit overpowered, and some of them were far more overpowered than others, but now they're generally pretty much just to the point. You press a button, something happens, and boom, something, you know, somebody ends up dying usually. Occasionally there's a couple more stages to it, you know, like Bowser becomes Giga Bowser and then punches the screen, but you know, that's about it. I suppose the most complicated one is probably Bayonetta's, because you still have to do the whole beating the hell out of people and then, you know, sort of, and then yeah, the big Gamora thing comes up and it goes rah, which feels like a really weird decision for me because they could easily have changed it to something arguably a lot more straightforward, but they decided to keep that sort of idea of Bayonetta in there. Is it a good thing, or is it specifically designed to make sure Bayonetta is nerfed? We don't know. Another interesting thing is the Echo Fighters. I think that they've been it's just a real stroke of genius what they've done with them, because the Echo Fighters have arguably been around for, you know, almost as long as Smash, if you want to include Luigi in the original games, which you shouldn't, but you might. But, you know, characters like Lucina and Dark Pit, they now are no longer sort of heralded as being main characters. Look, it's a full character. You know, I mean, it was never really presented that way. Well, it was presented that way. I think that was the problem. On the Smash, you know, on the character selection screen, you had all the characters and they each had their own slot, and you sort of, there was this sort of mentality behind it, and it's totally illogical. But even, you know, fans can so often be illogical, myself included. Even though I knew better when I looked at Dark Pit and stuff like that, I just sort of felt, could that not be another character there? Could that slot not be for a better character? And it's not like that. It just doesn't work like that, because it's not like that slot was being saved and they thought, oh, let's put Dark Pit in there. But that's the mentality, that's the way it was perceived. And so by specifically calling them Echo Fighters and allowing you to essentially hide them in the portraits of the other characters that they're echoing, it's almost just like an admission that these are minor character additions. They're not a big deal. These are only little variations, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. They're not taking up a slot, and everyone seems to love them now. It's purely about communication, and, you know, maybe they should talk to the Nintendo Switch Online team because they could do with a hand. Overall, I just think Smash Ultimate, they have listened to everything that people wanted and at least taken note of it. Maybe they haven't put it in the game per se, but, you know, a lot of the really crucial things that people have been clamoring for are now a reality. And that is something that cannot be encouraged enough. Admittedly, you know, people don't always know what they want, or at least they think they know what they want, but really they don't. But in this case, you know, they listened to what people wanted, and everyone seems to be over the moon. I know I am. It's really just... It's shaping up to be a phenomenal, phenomenal game. I have to keep remembering that I've only done early impressions, and I can't say it's a phenomenal game because I haven't played the final version. The worst part of playing it at the weekend was knowing that I'd walk away, I'd go home, and I wouldn't be able to continue. It was stuck there in dev units, and it wasn't available for me to play, and it's genuinely agonizing not being able to play this game, which sounds stupid, and you're right, it is. But I haven't felt this way about a game in a very, very long time. To see a game and to get my hands on a game and to think, just, yes, this is what I wanted. Why can't I play more of it? And this is a small, teeny tiny demo version that I was playing. So the full game, it's gonna be good. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you smash that subscribe button the ultimate way. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. And then I played through the match and I sort of felt that stuff wasn't behaving as I expected it to.